Hello everybody, welcome to a special Mr. J's Geek Corner review. On here I review anything geek related, will be comics, TV, movie, and video games. And as of right now it is October 26th. This will probably be posted tomorrow, the 27th. But just moments ago, the new Supergirl show premiered on CBS. For some odd reason, for some weird reason, they put it on from 8:30 to 9:30. I don't know why they did that. But I'm going to give you, it just wrapped up, but I'm going to give you a non-spoiler review of it. As non-spoiler as you could possibly get. I'm going to give you what I thought of it. So I'll start it out. Start off everything. I'm going to just say it was a great show. As a whole, it was a great show. I'll tell you a little bit of what happened in it without spoiling the whole thing, because the spoiler alert is supposed to come on Halloween night, Saturday, on 31st, 8 o'clock. So, if you didn't catch it tonight, you didn't catch it on 26th, catch it on 31st. Believe me, it's worth catching it. But it was worth watching. But for those of y'all that called it tonight, here's my review of it. It starts off on Krypton. You start off seeing baby Kal-El. You see a little bit of his story, and you get to see her origins too, which is basically a shared origin. You get to see her rocket away from Krypton before it explodes and everything. But here's a twist. They kind of deviated away from, I don't know how the Videoverse did it and everything, but the way they did it, and I don't know how the pre-crisis DC did it either, but post-crisis, pre-52, lore has it that Supergirl got trapped in a chunk of kryptonite, basically kind of like how they did it in Smallville, and that she gets trapped in a chunk of kryptonite and is basically put into a state of suspended animation, in which she finally makes it to Earth and is basically younger, and somehow he's jumped leaps and bounds in age over her. This time, instead of being basically a 15-year-old girl being shot to Earth and a basically almost late, you might as well say, kind of early 20s Clark finding her and trying to teach her powers and everything. In this version, they've kind of spiced things up a little bit, almost made it a little bit more, I would say almost a little pre-crisis-y, a little bit, or like pre-52 in that area, but with one little twist. She accidentally falls into the Phantom Zone, which I actually thought was pretty interesting. I don't know really why it was open at the time. I'm guessing it's because they may have shot all the criminals into it or whatever. I don't know. They may have sent Zod in there. Who knows? But somehow the Phantom Zone was open. She fell into it and basically stayed there almost in the same state of suspended animation for several years, to which she finally fell out and landed on Earth, to which Superman finds her. Which is an awesome sight, even though you do just see like his cape and his sleeve and his hand, and you see an outline of him and everything. It's still awesome to know that he had something to do with it. But here's the twist, though. Other than the Phantom Zone thing, she is like, in some iterations, she's like in her teens. She looks to be probably about 11 or 12 years old here. And I thought that was a bit interesting. And they didn't really explain. They showed him carrying to the Danvers. They didn't carry him to the Kent. And they didn't carry her to the to Ma and Pa Kent. They carry her to the Danvers, which is actually family in the comics that adopts her later on, that actually adopts her in the comics, and I said Superman basically drops her off there to basically live a normal life. Her mission was to protect Kal. Since Kal-El now no longer needs her protection, she's just trying to make her own way in the world, essentially, and that's where everything picks up from in the story. And essentially everything really starts off as like a linear Superman story. I mean, she saves an airplane, she gets exposed, revealed to the world, and basically everybody's like, who is she? What is she? What's her connection to Superman and all this stuff? It's a very good story, and it leads into her getting a suit and basically revealing, and Jimmy shows up later, and to show you kind of a little bit of a twist on this, he's actually African American as opposed to a redheaded white guy in the comics, and it's just about, it's like them changing that Perry White to be African American in Man of Steel. It's a good twist, but it still got the essence of the character in it. And I like that. And they still show almost, and basically, even though he's a different race, he's still Superman's pal. And I like that. I like that. Everything had a very pre-52 vibe about it, and I love that. And I said they had a little twist here, and another twist being Cat Grant has basically her own media company, which ain't in the comics really, but she's still the same Cat Grant that she was in the comics, even though she has basically almost a media mogul on par with Lex Luthor almost. Well, in some instances he's a media mogul, whatever interpretation. I said she's basically a media mogul, and basically Kara is nothing more than or Kara, as they keep emphasizing on the show, she's basically just a lowly assistant, you might say. And eventually they start going through the whole thing of like, and one part I really love when she finally reveals it to her little buddy in the office that basically is attracted to her and everything. Keeps trying to ask her out, and she turns him down every time. She reveals to him that she has power. She's the one who saved the plane and everything like that. And they go through the whole thing of trying to design a costume and perfect the costume and everything. And I like that pretty good. It was real like trial and error on how to perfect the suit, and I like that really good. That was very good, very well done. And I'll just say, and everything felt real fun. I'm gonna say, and it felt real fun. It's like very enjoyable until she suddenly got hit with, and they showed her on her way to like to a forlorn fire to basically play Superman, Supergirl, basically be like her cousin, Kal-El. Then suddenly she gets hit with a kryptonite needle, and here come the Spec Ops guys. And I'm just, it was good, and it was very, I'm gonna say it was spectacular till that happened. I mean, it was a very, very good, it was very good, and then that happened. Then, and of course you had your one in the beginning, and the first half showed the whole one trying to be overprotective, trying to be the overprotective. His sister saying, "Don't do this. You shouldn't be doing this," and all this stuff. Said, "Don't say I didn't warn you." And then the whole thing with Spec Ops guys happened. And suddenly she wakes up on a table in an underground facility. She's basically been captured by the DEO. I think they call it Department of Extra Normal Operations. I think it's called in the comics. It's organization from the comics, and it's headed up by none other than Hank Henshaw. And as y'all know, Hank Henshaw, you know him from the comics, he ends up becoming the cyborg Superman, essentially. He ends up becoming cyborg Superman, one of Superman's and even Green Lantern Corps' deadliest foes. And of course they've done another change in that he's now also African American, but he's still one of the biggest changes is that Hank Henshaw was not like that in the comics. Now, I'm not saying he won't just. He was a white man and that, but he wasn't the head of the DOA. I'm gonna say the racial thing is not important here. The thing is they changed the character. So, I mean, in the comics, like I said, he was white in the comics, but that's no big. That's just side thing. That's not important. That's non sequitur. In In the comics, he was more like a scientist, like he was in Smallville version. He was also a scientist. In this one, he is he's director of the DEO, but he's also a grade A jerk. I mean, he does all he does the entire time is ridicule Kara the entire time, just pick on her, just ridicule her, and that is basically just acts very, I guess, a misogynist, but he's still a grade A jerk anyway. But as my wife said, Ellen said, everything was good. Then all of a sudden, 9 o'clock, it was like, what the heck happened? It was like, what the heck? I mean, and that was about the time the whole Spec Ops guys show up, the DEO guys show up, and Darter and everything like that, and everything turns off. Come to find out, her own sister sold her out. And I was like, we were both in there like, what in the world? I mean, it felt like that was the lowest part of the show. Anything from then on involving her and her sister and Hank Henshaw was like the lowest part, because they just both looked like total heels at that point. First class heels. I mean, after that, it was like, come to find out, and then they come to find out they were black. Basically, he has a trust issue with aliens, and that was the reason that, and she and Kal-El were the reason they established the organization, and they basically blame her for why there are suddenly aliens running rampant on the Earth for some reason. And the whole thing, and I won't go into much detail about that, but it's like she's suddenly responsible for aliens showing up on Earth. Y'all seen the show, y'all know, but y'all ain't seen it. I ain't gonna spoil too much. Basically, she's the reason why there's a danger on Earth. Meanwhile, there's this other guy that there's another alien, and they start alluding to stuff. But basically, she starts doubting herself and all this and everything. Come to find out, it's got to do with her mother. It's almost like a whole Zor-El thing going on. And basically, these group of aliens that blame her mother for why they wind up in the Phantom Zone also. I'm not going to go into too much. But anyway, they try to exact revenge on her. She runs into said alien, nearby gets pasted. And, of course, being the vague, the vague little, I ain't gonna say, I don't want to use that kind of language on this show, but the vague little jerk that her sister's being the whole time, jealous little, so-and-so that her sister's trying to be, she doesn't know that. She's like, that's why I'm trying to protect Jews from dangers like this. They're trying to get into this, that, and that. And eventually, she does, not just say bottom line, she does eventually get her spirits back up. She goes up against it and said, eventually everything comes out. Basically, everything she leads to a showdown with the alien again, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to spoil the ending, but I said I'm not trying to give away too much here. So, but I am going to say, I'm going to just say, all in all, this show was very good. I mean, as I said, it was like high marks for me until it got to the 9 o'clock half hour, and so it's like Ellen said, like, what the heck? There's just no other way of saying it. It's like, what the heck just happened? And it's like suddenly she gets hit with one kryptonite dart, and suddenly all the jerks come out. Like, her sister reveals herself to just how big a jerk she is, and you got Mr. Misogynist, Hank Henshaw over here acting another way towards her, spiting her sister, basically saying it almost gives you the illusion that the only reason she got put on was because of her sister, adopted sister, and then you had to deal with all them jerks. I'm just gonna say just jerks, that whole mess. But when it started getting into the action-oriented stuff and getting more into that story, it was very good. That was very good, and it started slowly just going up and up and up and up. Again, I say, all in all, the show was very good. It's all. I'm gonna say, I've heard a lot of negative reviews from folks who saw it back when it was leaked online, and I heard a lot of negative stuff saying, "Oh, it won't good, it won't that good." I actually thought it was pretty good. I'm gonna say, the special effects are. I'm gonna say, compared to Smallville, it's been probably, I'd say, 4 years since Smallville went off there, and I will definitely say they have improved leaps and bounds over what Smallville had. With Smallville, this is a TV budget we're talking about, and this looks very good. This is almost like a lower budget movie grade here. This is good stuff. Think about how good Flash looks. The special effects on Flash look. This looks just. This being another Superman related show, this has got Smallville beat a mile in special effects department. The flying looks great, and I'm gonna say it's an interesting interpretation of her heat vision. It's like they got the glowing eye effects and the round eye effects from Man of Steel, but it's blue beams. It's almost like that's how hot it is. Instead of being almost like red beams and everything, she's got blue beams for some reason. And I'm thinking it's like I'm guessing at a certain temperature, a flame turns blue, I guess, at a certain temperature. And that's basically, I think, what they were going for when they showed her. And I'm not going to say what part of the show to use it in. You'll know when you see it. but all in all, I give this show 2 thumbs up. Well, at least a thumb up, I guess you say. I'm like that. 1.5 thumbs up, because like I said, if it wasn't for the parts in there with her sister and Henshaw being such tools towards her, then it would have been even better than that. It was a fun show. It just had a real fun vibe. She was discovering who she was and everything, and then suddenly Kryptonite Dark, DEO buzzkill, DEO Hank Henshaw buzzkill, and that basically just, it struggled to get back up there, but it did get back up there. So like I said, I give it 1.5 thumbs up. I give it like, maybe, I guess you could say about 4 stars. Maybe 3.5, 4 stars for this first episode. But let's just see. But like I said, all it's got to go from here is up or down. Up or down. Right now they're off to a good start, but we'll see what next week brings. I'm going to definitely say it's a better show than Gotham, because you at least have a clear hero in this, as opposed to that show. At least in this, you have a clear hero in this. But, and I'm going to say it's a good show. It can only get better from here. It can only get worse from here. But time will tell. The coming weeks will tell. But what do y'all think? Did y'all like it? Did y'all hate it? What was your favorite parts of our show? What did you hate most about the show? Let me know. As always, drop your comment in the comment box below. Let me hear what y'all had to say. And that's all for this review. Any comments, any ideas you may have about the show, what you want to hear me talk about on the show, or anything you want me to review, drop all of them in the comment box. I would love to hear what y'all had to say. I'd love to hear your ideas on certain reviews and things. Like, subscribe, tell all your friends, and look out for this weekend, because this weekend is the 100th episode, and I can't wait for y'all to see it. It's going to be great. It's going to be big, so definitely tune in for that, and I'll see y'all next time.